number 5 from the Competent Communicator manual. The speech itself is 5 to 7 minutes. Talk amongst yourselves. Sorry. The title of the speech is What Makes a Horse a Horse? And her objectives this evening are to use stance, movement, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact to express her message and achieve her speech's purpose. Her other objective is to make her body language smooth and natural. So we'll be looking for that tonight. Please welcome Carla. Well.
What makes a horse a horse? Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, horses are much, much more than 1,200-pound, four-legged, hairy, galloping, mane and tailed critters, sometimes known as Trigger, or Flick-Eye, or Black Beauty, or Mr. Ed. Yes, indeed. They are also very majestic and simple, bold and soft. So for the next few minutes, I'd like to take you on a bit of a journey and introduce you to the world of the horse. To get a sense and look at life from their perspective and even consider some of the lessons they might have to teach us. So to begin, one of the key things to know about a horse is it's a prey animal. Did you know that they are able to distinguish a cougar walking through the field that's just eaten and not even bat an eyelash, and notice the difference when that cougar is into hunting mode? So some of the top 3 things basically to know about horses is that they stick together in numbers, so they're herd animals. They absolutely love being connected to one another. They are extremely in tune to their environment, noticing things that some of us wouldn't even be able to conceptualize. And they a lot of times deal with the unknowns in the world by the flight, fright, or freeze. So breaking it down a little further even, let's look at some of the senses that they might use to gain their information. The first thing is their ears. They're like antennas. So if you see a horse that's got its ears up and forward, it's paying attention to what's ahead of them. You'll notice sometimes they'll be taking an ear and maybe moving it out to the side a little bit. So all of a sudden they might be tuning into something that's happening over here. So when you actually watch them moving around, their ears are very active. And it's also fun to, and I wouldn't do this, never, I have before, but you can put gloves on top of their ears and make them move around. They look like little reindeer. I do that only at Christmas. So that is one of the great things that they use to really get a sense of their environment. Now, how can we, as humans, use that skill? Perhaps listening when we're communicating. Not thinking about anything else, just being in the moment and listening. What a great thing that would be to improve our communication. So that's one of the first lessons that we can learn from horses. Looking at another way they perceive information is through their eyes. Their eyes are set kind of on the sides of their head, so they get a really clear, they can almost get a 360-degree view of their surroundings. There's a little spot right beneath their nose that they can't really see, and then right behind them. So generally, they've got a really good view, unlike humans who are focused forward. Another really cool thing when they're looking at their environment is they use what we describe as soft eye. And we can even practice that a little bit now by just taking in all of what we can conceive in our view. So I can see my hand over here, I can notice Leanne there, I can see Shelley there, even though my eyes are forward. So by having a soft eye, we're just almost relaxing a little bit and taking in more of our environment. This keeps horses really safe. And just as an example, when we had our girls group a few weeks ago, we decided we were gonna do a bit of an experiment. It's probably 50 good steps from the house to the barn where the horses are. So we left the house and we thought, okay, we're gonna just walk really slow, we're gonna see how far we can get before the horses notice us. And it didn't take long before everybody's head went up and they were able to see us. So that's a really cool thing. So if we incorporate soft eye into our world, how might that change things? We might notice the homeless person who's begging for change. We might notice if we're in a conversation and we're leaving somebody out of it. We might notice if a coworker maybe seems a little bit sad that particular day. So by incorporating soft eye into our human behavior, again, it'll deepen communication and our awareness of the world. The third way that horses perceive information is body language, and this is a huge one because for us, humans, we rely so much on verbal communication when actually we gain more information from body language. So horses, here's a perfect example, is a horse that's anxious is going to have its head raised higher so it can see more if it's something potentially dangerous. And as it starts to relax, the head will come down. So that's one of the biggest kind of things you can notice about a horse off in the distance. And even further than their body language is their energy. So they can sense people's energy, and that's what makes them so great in working with humans, is their ability to basically mirror what's going on inside of us. So that's on a more energetic level. So again, by being able to, well, here's an example. How many times have you heard maybe a politician just saying, who is saying something and you're reading something else in the body language? So again, you're tuning in. If you're saying something that's not right, then you're tuning into your awareness of their body language and not necessarily what they're saying. And energetically, it might be where you have a really important decision to make, and there's part of you, your gut feeling, your intuition, that's saying this isn't right, and you end up going with your head, making the wrong decision, and then going back and saying, I should have listened to my gut instinct. So I'm going to wrap up. I just wanted to thank you for coming on my journey and giving you a bit of a perspective into the way of the horse, and offering you this challenge is to, simply put, as Shakespeare would, listen deeply, see courageously, and feel wholeheartedly your inner wisdom.